With 2024 finally here and the new season just around the corner, you need to know the 10 operators to play for the new year. With that being said, my first operator is going to be Azami. Now, Azami has probably been the best defender in the entire game for seasons now, ever since she came out. She has the ability to put down Azami barricades wherever she pleases, which act as makeshift deployable shields. Not only does she get one of these deployable shields, but she gets 5. And if you know how powerful deployable shields are, you can begin to see how powerful Azami can be. Not only this, but she has impact grenades for making rotates or getting kills, paired along with one of the easiest SMGs to use on defense. Overall, a great operator with an extremely high skill ceiling that you definitely need to be playing for the new season, for 2024, and just in your ranked games in general. Everybody plays her all the time, so you probably already know this. Somebody who isn't played all the time, though, is Gridlock. Gridlock is actually a bit of an underrated operator. If you play her a lot, then congratulations, you probably know why she's so good. Gridlock isn't actually meant to be a flank watch operator. She's much more than that. She's meant to lock the grid of a site by using her track stingers to make sure that they can't rotate while you're getting the bomb down, hence the name Gridlock. You lock the grid of a site. Now, you can use her for flank watch given the fact that she has 4 track stingers, and it's honestly viable to do so. Not only are track stingers really good, but her loadout is even better. Not only does she have some of the best primary weapons in the game, but she also has a super shorty for making rotates, playing vert, or just for finishing off kills, especially with the new shotgun update. It's very viable to use a super shorty. Going over her secondary utility, you have frag grenades, which is already pretty powerful for getting Azami shields, Fenrir devices, or many other bulletproof utility. If you want to disable those utility instead, or maybe help your teammate get a wall open, you can bring her EMPs. Or if you want to use her track stingers to get a plant down, you can pair that up with smokes to make it very easy for you to get that plant down in the first place. Overall, when it comes to versatility, Gridlock is the most versatile operator out there on the attack, which is why I had to put her in the top 10 operators that you need to play for your solo queue ranked game. The only issue is that she's pretty team-oriented, unlike the next operator, Maestro. Now, Maestro is great because, like I said, he's great for a solo queue environment. But they also just buffed Maestro, so not only are his cooldowns greatly reduced in ways that are great for you, but also he has a third Evil Eye. If you pair this up with observation blockers to make sure they can't drone out your Evil Eyes, you can catch them by surprise a lot of the times, by getting free damage or denying a plant in total. You can pair up 2 Maestro Evil Eyes in different places to cover the same plant, making it to where you can flip between 2 cameras so they can't shoot your cameras, and you can essentially make it to where they can't plant unless they have some sort of way to destroy your Maestro cameras. Not only this, but if we go into the actual loadout, he has an Alda 5.56, which is a great LMG, barely any recoil with a lot of ammo count. Also, if you want to set up sight, he has the Bailiff. It's great for making rotates, head holes, feet holes, any holes in general. Bailiffs is just great for making site setup. Now, like I said, running observation blockers is just going to be the best secondary utility you can run for Maestro, especially on certain maps that are very large, like Bank, Theme Park, or Chalet. But if you're more of a fan of the impact grenades, he has those too. Or maybe you want to pair up the barbed wire to really slow them down, especially with your Maestro cameras. Well, you can run that too. He overall has really cohesive secondary utility with his primary ability, which is one of the staples of why he is so good. Not only this, but if you're somebody that likes to play a lot more passively, maybe you're a support player, then playing Maestro is one of the best options for you. Someone who you can play no matter what player you are, though, is Buck. Buck has become very popular because people are starting to not really use him as a flex operator and starting to use him as an entry operator. In a meta where entrying with a 1.5 times scope on a good gun is super meta, Buck obviously shines at this. Not only this, but like I said, he has a 1.5 times scope, but on a good gun nonetheless. 40 damage with 30 rounds, 837 fire rate, with the only issue being that his first 2 bullets have a pretty high kick. If you run flash hider or muzzle brake, you can greatly reduce these first shot recoil, so it's not really an issue either way. If that's not your style though, you can run his outstanding DMR as well, which comes with every single scope in the entire game. Pair this up with the fact that it has even less recoil than the AR with even more damage, it's also a very viable option. He also has a Gon 6 for getting Aruni gates, deployable shields, or really any other utility that you'd want to get, so he's pretty versatile. Not only this, but he has the option between hard reaching charges for getting hatches and flash grenades for getting kills. So it just further highlights the fact that you can play Buck in a multitude of playstyles. You can use flash grenades and the pistol to get frags, or you can use the Gon 6 and hard reaching charges to play as a support operator. Either way, every single type of player can play Buck, which is why he's so good. Not to mention the skeleton key, which allows him to open up rotates and hatches for himself to be able to be even more aggressive or to play vert if you want to be a support operator. Like I said, super versatile in terms of the playstyles that come on Buck. Overall, you can be very support-ish or you can be very aggressive. It doesn't matter. Someone else who's great at being aggressive is Solus. Solus is arguably the best roamer in the entire game, because of the fact that she denies the most information while also gathering the most information out of any roamer in the entire game. She also can run the P90, which at first glance isn't a great SMG, but with the SMG-11 to back it up, you can run the shotgun SMG-11 combo and still do a great deal of damage and get a lot of kills. Pair this up with the fact that she has impact grenades and you can begin to see why she's such a valued roamer. Not only this, but you can see people like IQ, like Knock. Or actually, I don't know if she can track Knock. Somebody tell me down in the comments, but you get the idea. She can track a lot of utility while also simultaneously making it to where they don't get to have a prep phase because you're denying all of their drones. So in terms of information, she pretty much has it all, and you can be aggressive or passive with her, but she really favors an aggressive playstyle because you're aggressively denying information, which wastes a lot of time. Someone who's good at not wasting time, though, is Ace, because Ace is one of the fastest hard breachers in the entire game, yes, even after the nerf to his Selma breaches, which, honestly, I was playing Ace earlier today, you can't really notice the explosion time difference whenever he got nerfed, so I don't even think it's that big enough of a deal for me to kick him off of the top 10. Not only is his gadget still super good, but he also has the AK-12, which has a 1.5 times scope on it, and is arguably the best weapon in the entire game in terms of DPS and overall versatility. The fact that he has such a good weapon with such a good ability also makes it to where you have a numerous different ways of playstyle versatility, just like you did with Buck. You can be aggressive with the AK-12 after you breach the wall, or you can be a support operator by bringing claymores to make sure you don't get ran out on and just sticking on the breach after you breach it. The fact that his ace charges are also super fast at getting open a wall and super versatile because you can make just head holes with them also further reinforces the fact that you can play fast and still get aggressive and get kills with an operator that's really meant to be a support operator. So it doesn't matter what type of player you are, you can easily get value out of Ace. He's very easy to use. Someone who's a bit more challenging though would be Smoke. Now Smoke is really easy to learn, but he's very hard to master because he takes a bit of game sense to be able to understand on a high mechanical level. You need to understand zoning, positioning, and map knowledge to a T that is unparalleled to most of the Siege community. But in a meta that's very fast-paced, any operator that slows down this meta is going to be good, which is why I favor people like Smoke, like Azami, or like Maestro, who are good at slowing people down. Smoke, in general, has the shotgun SMG-11 combo, which we talked about on Solus being very good because you can get aggressive and get kills, but also if you're skilled enough, you can use the SMG-11 to even take long-range gunfights, so he's not limited to a short-range gunfight, contrary to what most people believe. Also, you can set up sight with the shotgun on Smoke, which is very, very good, and I definitely recommend if you haven't played Smoke, that you definitely pick him up, especially in this season where people are very, very aggressive. Someone who is a bit less aggressive, though, would be Osa. Now, Osa is a great operator because she does something that no other attacker has been able to do flawlessly. That is that she can turn predominantly defender-sided angles into attacker-sided angles. She can take control of angles that mostly defenders have control of, and then she can take control of it just by putting down her shield and sitting behind it, because most players with a brain won't peek an Osa shield. So just by putting a shield down, you've immediately taken control over a super hard power position that attackers normally weren't able to take control of unless they brought smoke grenades or a Blackbeard. Not only is Osa's utility super good, but so is her loadout. As you can see, she has the 5.56 XI, which is Thermite's AR, a very, very good AR. Not only this, but she has the PDW-9, if you're more of an SMG type of person. Not only does she have great primary options, but she also has the PMM, which is the best pistol in the game. And like we talked about with Gridlock, the secondary utility versatility on this operator is just out the roof. She has claymores if you don't want to get ran out on whenever you're outside of a breach on your shield. She has EMPs to help you get open that breach in the first place. And she has frag grenades if you want to get rid of bulletproof utility that's stopping you from taking the angle that you should be as Osa. Overall, I think she's one of the most underrated operators in the game, especially on PC, which is why I definitely recommend you pick her up this season and this year if you haven't already. Someone who's definitely not underrated, though, is Fenrir, and that's because everybody and their mother is either playing him or banning him because he's the most banned operator in the entire game right now. Or at least he was last season. I haven't checked the stats on the new season, but you get the idea. He's super banned. Now, Fenrir does what Smoke does, but to a more aggressive extent. The ability to have Fenrir mines that just blind people outright paired up with barbed wire to slow them down so that you can get a kill is great. The only issue with Fenrir is that in an aggressive meta, playing Trooper passively and only swinging off of your mines isn't really viable when half of your team is dead and you need to get aggressive. So as long as you don't have a team that's selling, Fenrir can be very, very nice. Pair that up with the fact that he's able to activate 3 of his mines at a time. As long as you're playing off of those activated mines with barbed wire to help you out, Fenrir can be an absolute menace to the ranked pool. Not only this, but Fenrir has a Bailiff for sight setup, which we already talked about on Maestro, being very useful and good in terms of versatility and how useful they are to the overall sight setup and the overall ranked pool, which is why I think Fenrir definitely deserves at least one of the top spots on today's list. Someone else who definitely deserves to be on this list, and my final pick on this list, is going to be Zero. Now, this list, by the way, is in no particular order. I'm not saying Zero is the best out of all 10 or the worst out of all 10. I kind of just threw around random operators. With that being said, I think Zero is pretty good. I think he's a little overrated in the fact that his cameras are pretty useless unless you have teammates that are watching them. But besides that, he has hard reaching charges to get walls open, a very, very good SMG with a 1.5 times scope on it, and for a solo queue player, Zero is just going to be your dream guy. He's very versatile, and in terms of a flex operator or a flank watch operator, he is one of, if not the best operator that is out currently right now. He has the ability to not only watch flanks, but zap default cameras whenever you use your cameras to watch flanks on staircases. He also has the ability to get walls open, or to get general information on the site. He has a Gon 6 to get any bulletproof utility, which we talked about being very important earlier when we were talking about frag grenades on Gridlock. Also, Zero is just extremely easy to play. He's a 3-speed with a good gun, which is very favored in this meta, but utility-wise, he also can be very useful in that aspect as well. So I just think Zero is very good for solo queue players, a little overrated, but definitely in the top 10 for sure. But with that being out of the way, that is it for this video. Check out this next video. My name's Alka, and I hope I'll see you there. Later.